up, everyone? Today we are diving into something absolutely massive as we break down why the Egghead Island arc is officially peak One Piece. From insane lore drops to the fights we have waited decades to see, Oda is truly not holding back anymore. Let's get into it. The Egghead Island arc has been an absolute game changer for the entire series, guys. It is officially the opening act of the final saga, and man, the stakes have never felt higher than they do right now. Every single chapter feels like a massive historical event in the world of anime. Egghead is technically known as the Future Island, but honestly, it feels more like the Island of Answers to me. We have spent over 20 years wondering about the Void Century and the secrets of the world government. And now Vegapunk is finally lifting the veil on everything we know. One of the absolute biggest highlights has to be the triumphant return of our favorite giant warriors, Dory and Brogy. Seeing them again after over 2 decades since the Little Garden arc was a pure shot of nostalgia for longtime fans. These two legends are not just here for a cameo. Think about the history here, folks. They have been fighting on Little Garden for over 100 years. Seeing them sail onto the scene to aid the Straw Hat Pirates felt like everything was coming full circle. It is a massive signal that Elbaf is finally within our reach at last. But before they arrived, things were looking pretty grim. Vegapunk dropped a massive bombshell by revealing how he gave Bonnie the ultimate authority over the Pacifista. He hard-coded her as the highest level of command because he could not bear the thought of Kuma ever hurting his own daughter. Can we just appreciate how genius and emotional that is? Vegapunk basically betrayed the world government from the start just to protect a father and daughter bond. It shows that even in a world of cold science, the human heart still wins out. It is such a beautiful piece of writing. The action kicked into high gear when Luffy went absolutely wild on Saint Saturn using his Dawn Gatling. Seeing Gear 5 Luffy just toy with one of the highest authorities in the world was both hilarious and terrifying. Saturn is a literal monster, but Luffy treats him like a cartoon character. Despite Luffy's power, the Marines still had the island completely surrounded and things were looking desperate. That is until the giant warrior pirates showed up and started wrecking the Marine fleet like it was nothing. Their arrival changed the entire momentum of the battle in an instant. It was incredible. Dorian Brogy even stepped up to save Luffy directly from the Five Elders. Seeing these giants stand tall against the literal gods of their world was such a powerful moment. It really makes you wonder just how much stronger the giants are compared to your average powerful pirate or marine. Now, while all that chaos was happening on the main stage, something even more mysterious was going on in the background. The Blackbeard pirates finally made their move. We have been waiting to see what Blackbeard's crew was planning for Egghead. And their appearance did not disappoint at all, guys. Katarina, Devon, and Ban Augur were the ones to infiltrate the island, and they actually ran right into Saint Saturn himself. Instead of being terrified, Katarina Devon just casually touched the Gorosei. Do you realize how huge that is? Her devil fruit allows her to transform into anyone she touches. If Blackbeard's crew can now infiltrate the Holy Land of Marigoys looking like one of the Five Elders, the entire world order is in serious trouble. This mission was a massive success for them, and they did it with such cold, calculated precision. Blackbeard is definitely playing the long game here. And can we talk about Ban Augur for a second? When Saturn attacked them, he just stood there with zero fear and used his warp fruit to teleport them away. He looked so unimpressed by the power of a literal god. It really shows how confident the Blackbeard crew has become. Personally, I think the Blackbeard pirates are being set up as the ultimate final antagonists. They are not just strong, they are smart and opportunistic. While Luffy is fighting for freedom, Blackbeard is out here gathering the most dangerous tools possible to claim the throne of the entire world. Moving back to the heart of the arc, let's talk about Jewelry Bonnie. Her character arc has been one of the most emotional journeys in the entire series. She went from being a mysterious bratty captain to one of the most tragic and inspiring figures in the New World Saga. After everything she learned about her father Kuma and his suffering, Bonnie was at her lowest point. But then, she saw the sun god Nika in the flesh. Seeing Luffy in Gear 5 gave her the hope she needed to finally realize the full potential of her own abilities. Luffy actually started teaching her how to use her powers more freely. He told her to imagine a future where she is the most free person in the world. And that is when it happened. Bonnie used her distorted future ability to transform herself into a version of the sun god. Seeing two Nikas on the battlefield at the same time was absolutely legendary. It was the perfect conclusion to her arc. She is no longer just a victim of the world government. She has become her own symbol of hope and liberation, just like her father always wanted for her. The moment where Luffy and Bonnie were celebrating together while both in Gear 5 forms was so wholesome. It really highlights what One Piece is all about. Even in the middle of a war for the fate of the world, there is still room for joy, laughter, and pure freedom. Now, we have to talk about what was happening outside of Egghead, because Oda decided to give us a glimpse of the real power gap in the world. Captain Kidd thought he was ready to take on a Yonko, but he picked the absolute wrong day to challenge red-haired Shanks. Kidd arrived at Elbaf with his entire crew, thinking he could just barge in and take what he wanted, but Shanks was not playing around. When his observation haki showed him a vision of Kidd destroying his entire allied fleet, Shanks decided to end the fight before it even started. Shanks used Kamisari, or Divine Departure, the same attack used by the Pirate King Gold D. Roger, he hit Kidd with so much power that it took out Kidd and his right-hand man killer in a single strike. I mean, one hit. That is just absolutely insane power levels. The Kidd pirates were completely obliterated in seconds. This was a massive reality check for fans who thought Kidd was on the same level as Luffy. It shows that the Yonko are on a completely different playing field, especially when they stop holding back and get serious about combat. To add insult to injury, Dory and Brogy finished the job by destroying Kidd's ship as it tried to flee. This moment solidified why Shanks has been kept as this mysterious, top-tier figure for over 20 years. He is not just a pirate, he is a force of nature. I think this was Oda's way of pruning the competition. Only the strongest can survive in the race for the One Piece, and unfortunately for Kidd, he just did not have that top-tier haki required to hang with the legends. It was a brutal but necessary moment for the story. While Shanks was dealing with Kidd, Garp was proving why he is a living legend over on Pirate Island. He led a mission with Sword to rescue Kobe from Blackbeard's clutches. We finally got to see what the hero of the Marines can do when he is actually angry. The members of Sword also got their time to shine. Characters like Kujaki, who is actually the granddaughter of Suru, showed off some really unique and powerful abilities. It is great to see the next generation of Marines actually having some moral backbone and fighting for what is right. Abari and the rest of the crew were also putting in work, but everyone was just waiting for the main event. Garp did not just walk onto the island. He literally flew his entire battleship into the center of the town. The sheer audacity of this man is just off the charts. Can we just talk about the visual of Garp laughing while his ship is soaring through the air? He is 78 years old and still has more energy than most of the younger characters. He truly embodies the spirit of the old era of pirates and marines who were just built differently. Then came the galaxy impact. Garp jumped from the ship and punched the air with so much Conqueror's haki that he leveled an entire city block without even touching the ground. I was literally screaming when I saw that panel. Garp is still an absolute beast, even in his old age. Back on Egghead, things took a terrifying turn when Saint Saturn realized he could not handle the situation alone. He used a summoning circle to bring the rest of the 5 elders to the island. Seeing all 5 of them appear at once was like watching a nightmare come to life. Their true forms were finally revealed, and they are not just devil fruit users, they are straight-up monsters. From giant birds to skeletal horses and massive worms, they represent the darkest myths of the world. They looked absolutely terrifying and completely unique compared to anything else we have seen before. The sheer scale of their power was on full display as they started tearing through the island. Having all 5 elders in one place for the first time in 20 years shows just how much the world government fears the truce that Vegapunk was trying to broadcast to the entire world. Saint Nushiro in particular was a standout, using his hybrid form to move at blinding speeds and cut down pacifistas like they were made of paper. These are the beings that have ruled the world from the shadows for centuries, and now the masks are finally coming off for everyone. But as intense as the action was, the heart of Egghead was the flashback of Kuma and Ginny. This was arguably the most tragic backstory in all of One Piece. Learning about their life together and the pure love they shared before the world government ruined everything was heart-wrenching. Ginny's death was one of the saddest moments I have ever read. She was taken by the celestial dragons, and by the time she escaped and reached out to Kuma, she was already dying from a rare disease. She just wanted to say she loved him one last time before passing. Kuma arrived just seconds too late to hear those final words. Seeing him holding her cold hand while crying his heart out was just too much, man. It makes you realize why Kuma was willing to give up everything, including his humanity, just to save their daughter Bonnie. The way Kuma raised Bonnie as his own daughter, despite the tragedy surrounding her birth, is the ultimate testament to his character. He is the kindest soul in the entire series. He turned every bit of his pain into love for his daughter, giving her a happy childhood. Every choice he made, from becoming a Shichibukai to allowing himself to be turned into a cyborg, was for her. He made a deal with the devil just to ensure she could live a life free from the disease that killed her mother. He is the ultimate father figure. The moment Vegapunk finally erased Kuma's memories was devastating. Vegapunk himself was in tears, calling Kuma a hero. It felt like we were witnessing the death of a legend in real time. Kuma gave up his very soul so that the world could have a chance at freedom. His final request to Vegapunk was just to wish Bonnie a happy 10th birthday. Even as his mind was being deleted, his last thought was for his daughter. If that doesn't make you emotional, I don't know what will. Kuma is truly the GOAT of One Piece backstories. But then, the most cathartic moment in the entire history of the series happened. Kuma, despite being a mindless cyborg, traveled across the world to Egghead. He arrived just in time to stop Saint Saturn from stomping on Bonnie, standing as a protector one last time. The punch heard around the world, Kuma wound up and landed a massive, hockey-infused blow right into Saturn's face. You could see the years of built-up rage and pain in that one strike. It was more than just a punch. It was justice finally catching up to a tyrant. Seeing Saturn, a being who thinks he is a god, flying through buildings after being hit by a man he considered a slave was incredible. It was the ultimate payoff for everything Kuma went through. It proved that the spirit of a buccaneer can never truly be broken. And we cannot forget the rematch of the century, Luffy versus Rob Lucci. Seeing these two face off again after over a decade was a dream come true for many fans. But this time, the power dynamic was completely different than their battle back at Enies Lobby. Lucci showed off his awakened Zoan form, looking absolutely menacing with the black clouds surrounding him. He is much stronger than before, but Luffy is now a Yonko. Gear 5 just completely outclassed Lucci in every way, turning the fight into a spectacular display of creativity. The animation in the anime for this fight was on another level, guys. The Sakuga was insane. Seeing Luffy bounce around and use his toon physics to dodge Lucci's attacks was a visual treat. It really showed how much the production value of the show has skyrocketed recently. In the end, Luffy came out on top, proving that he is truly in the big leagues now. Lucci is a monster, but he is no longer a wall for Luffy to overcome. He is just an obstacle. It shows how much our captain has grown on his journey to become king. The Egghead Island arc has been a roller coaster of emotions, action, and world building. It has set the stage for a final saga that promises to be unlike anything else in manga history. I honestly cannot wait to see where Oda takes us next as we head to Elbaf. What do you guys think was the best moment of the arc? Was it Kuma's punch, or maybe Shanks destroying Kid? Let me know your theories in the comments below. This journey is far from over, and I am hyped to be on it with all of you. Peace out.